iPhone.
Check, check, check. Hey, hey.
Who knows? Is it?
Hey, I got a red light over here. It's exciting things.
You want to check? I think we're set. I think it looks okay.
Hey, got a red light over here.
Okay.
Exciting things. You would think we'd have all this figured out in the 5 minutes of preview, but it's not how any of this works. This is a budget show, guys. On the backside, we're still working on getting our special guest, Jesse Haines, signed in with us. He is updating software and all of those exciting things. So hang tight for that. Meanwhile, want to thank Maxxis Tires, Laser Nut, Metal Cloak, Brannick Motorsports, Crown Automotive, Spider Tracks Off-Road, Raceline Wheels, Tire Right, Carnage Welders, Axle Helmets, Behemoth Drivetrain, and Drive Shaft Specialist out of San Antonio. Please support those guys. And if you have any questions about any of their products, that's typically something that we have used.
Can I turn this off?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, it looks off now anyways.
Yeah? All right.
Let me go call Jesse.
All right. You go. Oh, you're taking my phone.
Well, I can't take my phone.
Oh, it's running everything over here. So Caleb's working on the producing the show like he does every week, right here live in front of you guys. Find out where we're at here. All right. This week's WERock Wednesday is brought to you by Laser Nut. A huge shout out to Cody for providing all of our trophies. in everything that he does all season long. We really appreciate everything those guys do for us. Make sure if you've got a small fabrication project or a huge run of bumpers or suspension components, anything that has any kind of laser cutting, forming, welding, whatever you need, those guys can get you taken care of. Or if you just want to get one of those super cool cactus, check those guys out. All right, we're getting ready to head west this weekend from a very snowy and cold Kansas City to Baghdad, Arizona, presented by Flying High Off-Road. It is Arizona's oldest off-road shop, so if you need any type of modifications made, make sure you check out Flying High Off-Road. Tickets are available on the website. If you jump on there and use the code WERock25W1, that will get you the discount code for the pre-sale tickets. Also, if you want to jump on there and register your team, you can do that as well. We had the parade in Wickenburg last week. Thank you to the guys that came down and supported that. I talked to Rich a little bit this week, and he said that immediately after the parade, we had a pretty good influx of ticket sales after that. So thank you guys that came out and supported the parade. The super cool part, like we've got a lot of vendors coming, so it is going to be very full. Ashley with TNA Wieners, Justin Kyleman with JBK Barbecue. We have the Purple Cow Cafe out of Farmington. Will be there as well. If you guys has been to Farmington, really kind of great American food from Purple Cow. Sassy Bees, Raynell's Ice Cream, Papa's Kettle Corn, and Fire Flash Donuts are what we have on the food side. What we have on the vendor side, we've got Carnage Welders coming down. We have... Wow, where's the rest of my list? It must be on the computer over here. Carnage Welders, we've got Tire Right. We have Behemoth Drivetrain. So if you guys have not had the opportunity to check out those amazing transfer cases or those super cool welders, make sure you stop by and check those out. We will have the Copper Country Hay Company.
Yep.
They will be back out there with all kinds of super cool items as well. And I'm sure I'm missing some other things, but that's normal. So we've got our Raceline. Don with Raceline will be there as well with a display of all the super cool Raceline wheels that you guys can check out as well. We have been busy folding shirts, getting everything packed, and ready to go for hitting the road this weekend. And we're super excited for you guys to be able to check all those out. Caleb worked on the simulator a little bit, kind of getting that fixed up and looking good for the event as well. So we're excited. We'll have that down Friday night at the Bar and Grill. And we will be able to, come in and hang out and take the simulator for a virtual spin. So thank you to everybody that has helped out with that. Raceline Wheels, Maxxis Tires, Weldered.com, a friend of ours, Travis Snyder, that did the chassis for that. So very, very cool. All right, Caleb is over here working away.
Jesse's getting a different laptop.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm super excited. Being an East Coast team, as we were growing up, Jesse was always the guy that we rooted for. Ken Bloom and Jesse, were our for a long time our best shots at having a national champion out of the out of the Eastern Series. So let me jump back in here real quick. Hey Kyle, thanks for jumping on. I saw you were looking to get out with your Jesse Haines fabrication buggy, and those of you that don't know, our Jesse Haines chassis was chassis number 11 that Kyle Listful had welded up. Aaron, I've got your a huge shout out to Aaron Armstrong. These guys have had huge equipment in for weeks back and forth up and down the hill into the site, getting everything prepped, bulldozers, articulated dump trucks, like all the things. So a huge shout out to Aaron. Aaron, I'm assuming you're probably needing help on clearing brush from the courses. Post in there real quick. Let me know exactly what you need, and
We're live on YouTube.
hey, YouTube's working for a change. That's nice.
Yeah.
You would think you'd be able to just show up and hit the button, and things would work, but it just doesn't seem to go that way.
I don't know if I have audio coming in from...
You're looking for audio on that side?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I have audio coming in from...
You're looking for audio on that side?
Oh. I can hear you.
All right.
I don't know if anyone else will be able to hear. I just...
Oh, we're so close.
I can hear you.
All right.
I don't know if anyone else will because it's running into a different software.
Oh, we're so
But
close.
the...
I can hear you. All right. I don't know if anyone else
let me try.
Because it's running into a different software.
We will try.
Let me try. Because it's running into a different software.
Let's try.
Yeah, so one of the things that we were really working hard to do is to have that like really natural interface between people when we have them on, and it's opened up a whole nother can of worms on the production side for us. But really trying to have the best setup that we can for you guys. Unfortunately, you would think that you would show up every week, do the same things, and it would work. But really trying to have the best.
All right, let's see if Jesse, if you wanna give me something. Let's see if I have audio coming through. Why does that not show up on India? I need to go to... game. This headset's got like...
All right, are you good on working on that for another minute? Think so?
Let's
All right, so one of the things that
something again.
I wanted to let you guys or give you some information about is the camping at Baghdad. If you have not been to the Baghdad site, basically the easiest way is to put in the Copper Country Bar and Grill.
I think we have.
And
I think we have Jesse. You wanna check?
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna have Jesse.
Oh, okay.
But I think I have him. All right, I think I can go into this. I can set up.
So if you can if you can Google the Copper Country Bar and Grill, that will get you kind of right in front of the comp site. Go past that. The Turtle Rock Mine entrance is the next right-hand turn. There'll be signs all the way from the center of town all the way around. So we've got, once you get in there, it will be primitive camping. The center section of the we'll call it a gravel lot, will typically be reserved for competitors.
Someone said they can hear me.
And then everything outside of that will be first come, first serve camping. So it is primitive. So just
Apparently people can hear me.
That's the biggest questions I get about there. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to Caleb, and I will jump in and watch with everybody else.
Well, I guess we'll just go.
Yeah. So our 2024 Brannick Motorsports National Champion in Unlimited, Jesse Haines. Finally, Caleb's got it figured out, hopefully.
Maybe. I think everything's running, but I think we'll have...
Fixed
So
itself.
the good news is I've written down some things that I wanted to ask Jesse, so I will let you jump on that and take it from there.
All right. All right, well, glad to have you. Just took a little bit to get everything working, so thanks everyone for staying with us. What is THI? What do we got going on? What's... Just took a little bit to get everything working, so thanks everyone.
That was just a thought.
And didn't finish itself. That was as far as it went.
That was a note when I was on the phone that turned out to not be important.
That's all the way up. All right. Well, thanks, Jesse, for coming on.
Yeah. I had my phone pulled up for a minute here so I could look at the comments and stuff, and it died. So
Perfect. That's
Going good.
We're just great technology all night. Well,
yeah.
you had an amazing year last year. I know. You started that season with with no personal car, and came out and won the Brannick National Championship. You've rock crawled for I don't know how many years. When did you get started, really?
2003,
That's definitely.
before you were born. Or
Yeah. That's. Well, what's been one of your favorite sites, terrain or anything?
I've always liked Cedar City. It's always, I don't know, just a lot about it. Just the terrain and location and the city and everything. I like that place. And the Arizona sites have been cool. Congress and then Baghdad. Just good terrain there. But, back in the day, we had some memorable events at Jellicoe. You surely went there at some point, right? Or no?
Have we ever been to Jellicoe? Did you compete there? Or?
No?
I did not.
No. So we have no
that was-
idea what that.
Yeah, that was good stuff back in the day for sure.
That's definitely a lot of experience over the years. A lot of different places, a lot of traveling. You started out on the East Coast, so that's definitely very cool for us. We've always run the East Coast series, and now that we get to see, the West and East. What do you see the differences between the East and West terrain and events?
Well, I was just talking to someone about this yesterday, and basically, if you're going somewhere on the East Coast, it's just a 50% chance of rain, is what I typically say, especially if there's a rock crawling event, which, it's pretty rare at the West Coast events. It happened last year in Cedar City. We had miserable rain, but yeah, that's a factor, and it just really changes the dynamics of the event when you get when you get mud and wet rocks, and I guess West Virginia last year we were dealing with some of that, and I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of differences. Uh, I remember back in the day, it felt like just the attitudes of the East Coast teams versus the West Coast teams was just traditionally different. Like the West Coast teams kind of took it more seriously and more professionally, and not necessarily, I don't know. I mean, it's a different way to look at it. It's like uh, the East Coast teams were uh, more like family in a way, and friends getting together and doing this rock crawling event. And the West Coast guys, it was more competitive, and that was something to get used to for sure when I moved.
Yeah, and really, this or last year, you came out and spotted for the Melchners on the East Coast, and then also ended up competing on the East Coast in the X-Rock event and also Pennsylvania. Um, I mean, how how much different is it now compared to back then when you were competing?
Um, well, I mean, I'm sure you guys have seen it, and anyone that's really been around the East Coast competition consistently has seen that in the past, really 3 years or so, things have kind of ramped back up. And no offense to anyone on the East Coast, but I mean, it was like when I left the East Coast, it was like East and West were, neck and neck as far as skills and the vehicles and everything. And then it just, it definitely dropped off for a while. And it's like, it's certainly, coming back to where, West Coast guys are going to be taking the East Coast guys seriously at the combined events. It's, so.
So I know last year you didn't have really you ran let's see Baghdad you ran the Willies in Unlimited, and that was what'd you take second or third?
Yeah, it was second. Yeah,
Second.
second.
And then you kind of took a break. You didn't really have a car. You went out and ran X Rock with the 386 Fab.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ran that,
Yeah.
and then you came to the WERock event, or whichever one was first or second. I can't remember.
It was Cedar City was before
Oh yeah,
before
and,
the heat. But yeah.
you ran in Jason Child's car, correct?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yep. And
and then you convinced Charlie Melchner to borrow a car and go to Washington and run, and then you also competed there. I mean, tell us kind of what happened at that event. Oh, we're frozen. And where you ended up after that.
well, I mean, the Cedar City event, I basically got Jason's car. I don't even know, a couple weeks before, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and we pulled the car down to it was all rusty, sitting in its garage, rusting basically, and I pulled it down to a bare chassis, straightened tubes out, fixed it up, repainted it, and I didn't have any seat time in it, and there was some issues to deal with, and we did all right, second place there, and then we went to Washington. By then, felt pretty comfortable. Felt pretty comfortable in the car, and it was just one of those weekends where everything kind of clicked and everything worked out for us, and we had a awesome weekend as far as that goes, and beat up on some people, I guess, but and yeah, we had the national points thing going on, and Charlie was in contention at that point, where if he had a good finish on the West Coast, he would have a chance to win the national point series. And so he rented a car, and he didn't have a weekend where everything clicked. Like there was just some problems throughout the weekend, and didn't go as he was hoping. And I don't remember where he finished, fifth or sixth or something. But
And you were spotting, for the Melchners last year, which I mean that's got to be quite a bit different than because we always see you in the driver's seat. What's the big changes going into to being outside the car spotting?
I really enjoyed it. Um, it I don't know, it was a lot different to watch from the outside, and I mean, for the most part, you know, I I've got a good spotter. Chris Poblano's a great spotter, and so but people uh, don't really understand sometimes. Like I'm not relying on him to always figure out why the car won't go one place or the other. It's navigating the lines and getting through the cones for the most part is the biggest thing. And for me, I feel like I get a pretty good eye on what it takes to get the car through the obstacles themselves. And so, um, yeah, and I mean, I also strategically, I'm pretty good at that stuff. So, working with the Melchners, they were totally willing to listen to me when it came to what do you think we should do here, and obviously they had some input in it too, but yeah, no, I really enjoyed it, and we had good success last year for sure.
Yeah, which I know Trail Hero you spotted Little Charlie. Is there which one you like spotting better? Does Little Charlie? I know he gets a little rowdy sometimes, but I think they probably both do. Is there which one you think listens better?
um so I'm sure you've seen it. So if Big Charlie's spotting for Little Charlie, it they can run into some problems with not listening, and or just disagreements in general. And which when Little Charlie and I are working together, we don't have much of a problem with that. And so it works pretty well. I mean, he's surprisingly, he actually stays calm better than Big Charlie does. Um, Big Charlie gets a little stressed out sometimes, and the pressure gets to him occasionally. So different scenarios. Um, they both got their strengths, I guess you'd say.
Yeah, it is. I mean, one of the best things though is the fact that we have Little Charlie in the sport, and Brett Dickey, and Braxton, and Caitlin, all of the young drivers that are. I mean, really, they're putting on. I mean, saying that hey, we're not just kids. We're good drivers, and we can stay calm in the sport, which really is a big really helps in it as a driver, and or even as a spotter, any part of the team. You really want to be calm and make the decision, not get too aggressive with the car, because then stuff kind of goes wrong and it's hard to recover from that. So it's
Yeah.
it is cool to have the kids driving. Now, I mean, one of the big questions I think everyone has is what's what are you planning for? What's in the future? I know you just finished that Portal Jeep. That's a very cool build to follow along with, and heard you had a really good time at Hammers.
Uh, yeah, I mean, at the end of last year, I kind of decided that I need to take a break from top level competing, I guess you'd say, and I think that's been a good decision for me. But my Jeep, when I went to Hammers this year, it was the most fun I've had there in all the years that I've been going, because I didn't do any because other years they have like the shootout or whatever else, and you know even this year they had the X Rock event, but um, so I wasn't involved in anything. Just went casual trail wheeling for a week, and yeah, it was just pretty laid back and low stress, and um, it was just a good time.
Yeah, it's always fun to get out and I mean just go have fun. Which that's honestly that's probably my big advice for any competitor is to have fun first. It's it really helps. Honestly, when we competed, we would try and I mean we always wanted to win like everyone else, and that first day we sucked and we never did well. But then the second day, we just were like, all right, we're just gonna do what we want, and we're just gonna run our own courses, and we would immediately do better. And that's probably been some of my favorite moments. Last year was seeing you spotting for the Melsners. It was just so much fun. I mean, everyone was having fun.
Yeah, yeah. No, it was enjoyable, and it was definitely less stress than driving. Uh, and I'm planning to spot for them again this year, and I'm really looking forward to the Badlands event. Just you know, I mean, some people don't know, I'm sure, but I worked there for 4.5 years, and I haven't been back since 2013. So it'll be cool. That was my first rock crawling event ever was at the Badlands in 2023. So or 2003. Sorry.
Yeah, it'll. We went out there and we're looking at definitely where the old comps were and trying to figure out where, the car level is just so different from back then
Yeah.
to now. How to challenge, like
Yeah, thanks, Jesse.
yeah, how do we challenge your cars? Because I mean they're pretty much the top unlimited cars. I mean you've pushed that so far with the single seat portal axles. Um, it's hard to challenge those cars now and make it look I mean as spectacular as it used to.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Um, it's one of the changes in the sport that's it's good and bad because the bad is the fact that stuff that was extreme looks easy now, and that's not exciting to watch something that looks easy, and then really to push the cars to the limits. um, you take some pretty difficult terrain, and you start getting into more high risk stuff, to really push what that car can do. I mean, you're talking about sometimes that means some pretty crazy, big climbs, big drop offs, or situations that are going to be difficult to recover from. And that's always something that competitors don't necessarily understand. There's things where you look at it and go, this would be an awesome obstacle to drive through there. And it's like, yeah, but if someone falls in this crack, we're going to spend 45 minutes recovering that guy. And um, not really ideal for your event to stay moving.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to look at. Which you ran Supercrawl and put on events there, and so you know the struggles of setting all the courses and making sure the the pros and cons of all right, we set this really cool line. Uh, well, but how is that gonna go for the show? What's gonna what could happen? Um, I know one of the lines I set. It was at Nationals last year, which ended up rolling.
Jesse is very familiar
Yeah,
with that
rolling,
one.
rolling twice on that bonus line. It was such a cool line, and I mean, it was such a high risk and for and especially on day two back and through there, like I like looking at it now. There's no way I'd ever set a line like that again, where it puts the drivers next to that like 20-foot wall. Um, it was hard for me to watch. Thankfully, everyone did make it
You
through.
mean you mean going into the start of that?
Yeah,
That's
into
what
the
you're talking
start of the
about. Going,
bonus line.
yeah, and I'm guessing you didn't anticipate that being a sketchy situation, did you?
I not really.
Yeah.
But
So
you give them room, the competitors are going to take it.
yeah. So as a course designer, the one of the most dangerous courses I ever set was just a stupid mistake that I didn't even think was a big deal. Like at the last minute, I realized I didn't set a gate for the trail buggy class. And so I just had to add one last minute. I didn't free run it like I would usually do. And it didn't seem like a big deal, just looking at it. But it just happened to be kind of at the top of a big hill. And your car got weird going through there. And like two people rolled. One person, I remember watching Matt Messer like cartwheel his car down the hill. And it was, I just looked back and I was like, wow, I had no idea that was going to be even high risk at all, but, um, so yeah, I can see how that happens. You just picture something and you go, yep, they're going to come through here. And then a car gets in there and you go, okay, I didn't, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, it's but that's as a competitor, that's always part of the fun. You don't get to run the courses. You have to walk it and you have to look at it and try and figure out what the car's going to do beforehand. So I kind of get a little bit of that with setting the courses now, and yeah, it's all big puzzle. Same thing as competing, which that's some of my favorite stuff to do is to walk courses even with some new competitors or and like let's see how what are they going to figure out that are they going to find what I pictured or are they going to take something different. Do you have any advice for any new teams getting into WERock or competitive rock crawling?
Tons, but more of it is things that if you were asking questions, it's easy to answer. But just off the top of my head, it's um, the kind of like straightforward thing that I think people tend to do when they start is they'll go walk a course and they'll walk to the first set of cones and they go, okay, this is what we got to do. And then they walk to the second set of cones and they go, okay, we can do this. And then they walk to the third, and it's like, um, they don't look at okay, how are we going to get to that gate? Once we get through there, what direction's that pointing us? Like what's the best way for us to go through at that angle and then end up over here facing this way? And there's a lot to it. There's a lot of strategy that is not the obvious thing. And when I set up courses, I would set up two totally different types of courses, like the sportsman level courses. I would set them up so they were super straightforward. Like you drive to the one gate, you drive, and then it kind of points you towards the two gate, and then it points you towards the three gate. You know what I mean? So it was just like this logical layout that's not confusing because they're just trying to, learn the sport. And then for the pro level courses, it was trying to make people screw up in a way, pointing them in this direction, which totally screws them up to get lined up for the next course. And, adding some complication to it. So it's more of there's more strategy involved. And, it's a huge part of the sport. You get guys that are good drivers, but they can't, they can't spend the time to think about like, well, should I do this bonus line? Is this the best option for me? Maybe we have to take that cone out, and it all comes into play if you want to be consistent and successful.
Yeah, I know going into Roush Creek, Pennsylvania, I had heard that they're like the cars have outgrown the terrain there. It's kind of hard to find the something that'll challenge that. And I'm like, okay, well let me take that and I'll make it hard. And it really there was no side hills at all. It was only 100% side hills. Uh, and but it was I tried my best to how can I mess with somebody to let's make them do a loop out here and get lined up how to really screw somebody up by cars facing this way, well the next gate's completely opposite.
It, you know, and I agree. The courses turned out pretty good at that event. Many years ago, we had an event in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and I don't remember what happened. I think they were supposed to build a pretty decent sized facility, and they only ended up building like half of it. And WERock had to go there. Little Rich set the courses, and you looked at it and you were like, "How are they going to set an event with this amount of terrain?" And it was, similar to that Roush Creek event. It was like just really technical stuff, and making it the maneuvering between gates was just difficult, and ended up being a good event. And yeah, it was. I don't know. There's a lot to it other than just looking at the big obstacles and putting cones on them.
Yeah, I know. I mean, you ended up putting on a really good show at Pennsylvania first day. You definitely didn't go the end how you wanted it. You want to talk about what it took to? I mean, that was the event that won you the Bragg National Championship. So, what happened at Roush Creek?
Well, I think we were having a pretty good day. Um, and then on the last course, there was a climb that we didn't get to see too many people do it. I guess we watched one or two, maybe, or maybe no one had made it at that point. I don't remember for sure. Um, and yeah, I mean, driving a car that is very similar to Jason Child's car, but also Jason's car is never run right. It basically won't make any boost over 3,000 RPMs. And so it's really limited on power as far as high end power and launching something. And so I was driving Jeremy Ingram's car, and keep in mind, I've got like not really any seat time in it. It's not like I went out and practiced with it and just
Yeah, it was
show up and drive
pretty
someone's
much the
car
first
essentially.
time you had really got on the throttle. I think with it.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I mean, it's actually set up really well. Now that I know and I've drove it a little bit more, but it's set up really well. It's got the stall speeds like ideal for, building power. It makes, builds boost, for sure. And, I went to launch this thing, and obviously I should have known it's two different cars, but I mean, if this is Jason Child's car in that same situation, like I might have barely made it. And Jeremy's car, it like launched to the moon. And one of the other issues that some of the late model turbo stuff has is when you let off the throttle, it doesn't instantly stop the boost. Like it doesn't instantly dump the boost. And so it's like you get on the throttle and you realize, oop, that's too much. Like it just keeps going for a second. And so yeah, it was way more than I was anticipating. That's for sure. And um the car, I don't even remember all what happened. It ripped the rod end out of the upper link, and oil pan cracked. And yeah, I mean, realistically, my personal car that Charlie has now, would it have survived something like that? Like, I feel like it absolutely would have. but uh, you know, it, Jeremy's car's been around for I don't even know how long at this point, like 5 years, and he's the third owner, and stuff. But so yeah, I thought at that point we were potentially out for the weekend, and we fixed some things up and patched it back together, and then um, Sunday was one of those situations where you have a good day and other people are struggling. And so we didn't have an amazing day, but we had a good enough day that everyone was dropping back. And next thing you know, we were in position to win the event, the shootout. So
Yeah, it was. I mean, we just had such a crazy national battle going on at all the events. I mean, uh, Dave Wong was, I think, in contention for it, and then I think his role in Goldendale kind of took him out of that, and then you like Melchner was in contention for it, and you got him out to Washington, and then you won at Washington, and I remember once you'd won there, I think you looked over at Chris and was just like, I think we'll just go to Pennsylvania now, and
yeah, yeah. I mean, that was not anticipated as far as going into Washington. I mean, it wasn't even really something I don't even think I had thought about. Well, if we win this, we'll have one win and two second places. If we win again, then it was an interesting situation with tiebreakers, and it was like, I mean, it's practically a four-way tie almost at one point. So, yeah.
well, you have anything you wanna?
Yeah, Jesse, I was gonna ask what I know. We've talked about this before. When you decided to make the change from moving out of Michigan or Indiana and headed out west with Torchmate, that was one thing that obviously you were dedicated enough to rock crawling that you wanted to be where rock crawling was happening. What really was the turning point for you in your rock crawling career to spin that around and work your way to the top like you have?
Um, so, the first rock crawling I ever went to, or first rock crawling event I ever went to was at the Badlands. I had never been to a rock crawling event. Like I was somewhat familiar with it, but I wouldn't say I was even like a fan as far as really paying attention to West Coast events or anything. So, I mean, this was June 2000 or July 2003. So that was uh, WERock event. And some guy asked me to spot for him, and I said, sure. I don't know if I'm going to know what I'm doing. And he's like, dude, yeah, you'll be fine. I need someone. So, and right away I was kind of hooked on it. I mean, it was awesome. Like, everything about the event, like I had so much fun, and it was just so intense. And, it was, I don't know. It's like it quickly just got so into it. I was going to the rest of the WERock events, then went to Supercrawl that year, and then the next year started driving and competing myself. And yeah, I mean, back then, story that I've told before was, so that was 2004 when I started competing. Decided to build a buggy and got it done for the first East Coast WERock event was also at the Badlands. It was 2005. So that year I decided, okay, I'm going to start competing. I got my buggy built now, and I'm going to go to all the events. And so that first event, I think first obstacle, I like ripped the link mount off my axle pretty much was done for the day, and then pretty much Sunday was just practice. And at that point, you know what I mean? You 44 courses in a row. Um, and we had a good day, and it was good practice, and we did pretty well. And it was 5 weeks between that event and the second event, which was a new rock event, also at the Badlands. And in that 5 weeks, I had gone out and practiced almost every single day by myself because there was no one else that was going to go. So my options were don't go and practice or just do it by myself. And so practically every day I was out, and I bought brand new tires before the first event, and before the second event I had to buy brand new tires again in 5 weeks. I mean, they were literally like completely bald because I had wheeled my car all day, like after work, 4 hours a day or something for 5 weeks. And so, you know, what was the turning point? It was like I was just dedicated to it at that point. And, that next event finished fourth, which was like unbelievable. It went from 15th at the first event. My first two events, first three events, I mean, I didn't break the top. It's not even possible now, but I didn't break the top like 25. So all of a sudden it was like, holy cow, like we just got fourth. And then at the end of that season, I won the first WERock Grand Nationals in Ohio. But yeah, so it was all moved on from there.
Yeah, that's very cool. I mean, obviously we love the sport. We're enough that we've taken over WERock and keeping the events going. So it's cool to see the fact that starting 2005, it was having how far we've come and how far the cars have come. I mean, you've pretty much revolutionized what the unlimited class is and what the car you need to be in to be competitive.
Yeah, so one of the things
that is crazy to see.
Probably stepping on top of.
No, I was just saying that's
but
You good?
yeah. One of the things I wanted to talk about before we jumped off tonight was exactly that. You've put in a ton of research and effort and scrutinized, old pictures of cars that have been built over the years for you to come up and with the single seat chassis that you did, which led into the trail chassis. Tell us a little bit about what's going on at Jesse Haines Fabrication and kind of what your focus is and what's available from you right now.
So, a couple years ago, we got to the point where the portal stuff is just getting bigger and bigger as far as, we're busy. We're selling things and, excuse me, just kind of got to the point where it wasn't that logical to split my time between trying to build cars and trying to build chassis or rollers or whatever for people, and then also building the portals and the axles, because really, it seems like no matter what, like the longer you work on a project, the less profitable it ends up, it seems like. And so, building a turnkey car is like, it's tough. Like it's a ton of work, and then, so building a roller is a little bit better. Building a chassis is a little bit better as far as profitability, but like building the portal stuff is, it's better yet, I mean, it's, worked out really well for us. And I just decided, we kind of need to focus on this because this is what, I mean, I can't say there's no one else building portal stuff, but like everyone's building a chassis, I mean, people can build their own chassis. They can build their stuff in the garage. But the portal stuff has been the main focus. I will say, I'm sure people are going to message me about this. I'm not advertising it because it's going to take a while to get get them built. But we did order some chassis, some moon buggy chassis, because we haven't sold those in a while. But we do have some that we're gonna be welding up and selling. So, and 386 Fab in Michigan also is going to be building some of our single seat chassis also. So, I mean, that stuff hasn't been available in a while, but there will be, there, I do and will have more. So if anyone's interested, that stuff's available.
Well, I think that I mean we've gone a little bit over time, but I'm not.
Yeah, no. There's when you get into somebody that's been in the sport, and we didn't touch even on any of the stories of things like. So there's a lot of that stuff that that we could cover. But yeah, I want to say thank you so much for coming on board and chatting with us tonight. We definitely appreciate it, and the support. The effort you've put into rock crawling, not only just for WERock, but to push the sport like you have too, is very, very impressive. So congratulations on all of that, and we definitely look forward to seeing you back out on course, smiling and having fun with the Melchners this year. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the season, and won't be in Arizona, but good luck to everyone, and hopefully, I think it was last year we had some really nice weather there, didn't we? Seems like
I
it.
think we've been pretty fortunate the last couple of years. I mean, it started cold when we were out there at the beginning of the week, but pretty much every time I've been there during the event, I've been in like a t-shirt by the weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, man, Hammers this year, the weather was beautiful, but it's like for some of us here, I mean, the weather might suck, and so it's like it's awesome to be able to drive to Arizona and you're in a t-shirt, and so
Yeah, I think it'll be
yeah,
negative like 9 here tomorrow, so
right,
we're looking
yeah,
forward to. I looked at the weather forecast for Baghdad there, and I think it was like 70 later in the week. So
oh
that's,
yeah,
I
nice,
think
yeah,
it'll be a great spot to be at.
yeah, sounds good. Well, good luck to you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Yep, thank you.
All right. And with that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to another WERock Wednesday presented by Laser Nut. Again, those tickets for Baghdad are on sale. You can get those on the website. You can use code WERock25 W1 to get those discounted tickets. I want to thank Maxxis Tires, Laser Nut, Metal Cloak, Brannick Motorsports, Crown Automotive, Spider Tracks Off-Road, Raceline Wheels, Tire Right, Carnage Welders, Axle Helmets, Behemoth Drivetrain, and Drive Shaft Specialist of San Antonio. So thank you guys. Complaints, any of it, let us know. And we will see you guys live from Baghdad next Wednesday. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.